loneliness, depression, anxiety, and guilt. Mental health is very important, and unfortunately, some people neglect their mental health or just succumb to their inner torment. As did I, but a little indie game helped me through that time in my life, showing me that I'm not alone, and that game is known as Cry of Fear. When Cry of Fear showed me I wasn't alone, I found it to be quite comforting, as for the majority of my life, I always felt alone, and could actually relate to Simon on some degrees and see the symbolism in some of his monsters and their correlation with depression and of course Simon himself. One of these monsters that I see symbolism with both depression and Simon is known as the Flygare, a flying enemy in the game that appears to be a person strapped down to a bed, which in Simon's case is the symbolism for his crippledness, while the symbolism on the depression side is the feeling of being strapped down to a bed, as when depression hits, it's often hard to find the motivation to even get up in the morning, and the other reason being one might just find more comfort in their own bed, and when out of bed the feeling of depression and anxiety kicks in. Speaking of anxiety, another enemy that I feel captures the essence of anxiety is no other than the Saw Runner. With its multiple tragedy masks, fast speed, and the terrifying sound of its chainsaw revving just right behind you, this is anxiety. As anxiety may come out of nowhere sometimes, and no matter how fast you run, it just seems to be always right behind you. Anxiety comes in many forms, but I feel this moment in the game is encapsulating a panic attack. If you ever had a panic attack, you know how it feels and how it may just come out of nowhere, and no matter how much you tell yourself that you'll be okay, it just won't leave you alone. Another enemy I'd like to talk about is the Taller. The Taller's meaning and symbolism is the overwhelming feeling of depression and how large it is and tall it may seem, as well as the crushingness of it all with its devastating stomp attack. I too, as a 5-foot person, do in fact fear 6-foot people, and that is not a laughing matter. The last enemy, or rather boss I'll be talking about, is known as the Carcass. But before I can talk about the Carcass, I will have to talk about Sophie and the scene leading up to the boss fight. Sophie is Simon's love interest and ever so slight obsession, who he met from school and admits feelings for her
Sophie.
in his own
Simon,
special way,
let me go.
just to get rejected.
I love you, Sophie.
I have to leave. Please,
I fucking love
just
you.
let me go, Simon.
This rejection is something Simon cannot move on from for a long time, and or at all depending on what ending you get. But when we see Sophie in game, her and Simon talk for a bit, and from this encounter we can infer that Sophie is not aware of the monsters infesting the town. This being symbolism for Sophie not fully understanding Simon and his emotions, as she cannot see the world through Simon's view, no matter how hard Simon tries to explain it to her. And leading to the end of their conversation, book Simon admits feelings for her in a far better way than he did outside the book, but he still gets rejected, and Sophie says she just sees him as a friend, and then admits she wants to get away from everything and commits suicide in front of Simon, and soon the Carcass appears, and Simon blames it for Sophie's suicide. Carcass is a symbolism for Simon's inner guilt and self-hatred for being rejected by Sophie, and the pain he felt was as if he lost her. The Carcass is not the best boss, but one with meaning, and that meaning is really special to me, as I see the Carcass as the guilt, self-hatred, and or fear for losing someone. If you ever lost anyone, you'll know how it feels like. The shock, the confusion, the guilt, and self-hatred is all just too real for me. As a couple months ago, as I'm making this video, I lost a friend of mine and person I dated for a bit to presumably suicide, and the shock of realizing what has happened and coming to terms with the guilt, I was devastated, and I soon got in contact with one of their friends, and they sent me a screenshot of the final thing they said before they bid farewell. They were so angry and hateful towards everyone and everything, and some of the things they said ached my heart and reminded me of, well, me. And I felt guilty. I felt displeased with myself. I could have done something, but at last things ended this way, and soon they deleted their accounts, and whether or not they're alive, I don't know, but that I must live with. And I have another friend who I almost lost to the same thing recently. They planned on doing it while I was asleep, and the only reason they didn't was I was there at the right time, at the right place, and I fear what could have happened if I wasn't there. I fear losing someone to the same thing again. I fear going through the same pain again. I can't lose another person I deeply care about. And all of that really makes me resonate with the Carcass, the embodiment of everything I said. When losing someone, there are two paths one could take. One being they come to terms with it and acknowledge that they are gone and you must move on. And the other path being suppression of the thoughts and the fact of what happened and being unable to process what happened and move on in a healthy way. The Carcass boss fight also has this analogy in being able to stay and fight the Carcass and overcome those feelings and process it. and heal, and the other being you running away and being unable to process it and acknowledge that what happened, happened. Cry of Fear has always resonated and stuck with me with its analogies, symbolisms, and meanings that almost no other game has done besides for a select few. And games that do that are beautiful and are a form of art and hold a special place in my heart. If any of you are watching and currently suffering from any form of depression, anxiety, and or lost someone, I am deeply sorry, but I want you to know that everything will be okay, and people care about you, whether it be family, friends, or even a pet. They love you, and they care about you, and they want you to be happy and keep on fighting and living. But that's about all I have to say. I thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day and your night. And just remember to love yourself and take care out there.